What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Grant Rowland here with the DMG Gaming Podcast. And as always, I am joined by the guy who also had to issue an apology to Japan, my boy, Ed Phillips.
I never had to issue an apology to Japan. I was very respectful of their...
You showed up to their... They didn't want you there. You just showed up.
They didn't want me there.
Nope, because you're over there asking about Goku and Dragon Ball Z, and they found that very offensive.
Just some random Japanese. Hey, you know Goku?
I know. God, well, apparently that's like their Superman.
Like, yeah, we live right next to him.
I know.
All right, Grant.
What up, dude? What up, man?
My back hurts. I just got a radio frequency ablation to my lower back
and
burn your nerves.
For the people who aren't doctors, tell them what that is.
They basically just stick needles in you, numb you up, and burn your nerves on your spine, near your spine.
I gotcha.
And I did mine on my lower back left side, and I'm sore.
Weak. Anyway.
You know how I got that injury?
I know how you got it. You can tell everybody.
How did I get it?
You're in boot camp?
No. Wrong.
Oh.
Straight from the get-go, wrong.
I thought you were in boot camp and you were doing the training.
I wasn't in boot camp. I was doing a jungle warfare course in Okinawa.
Okay.
Going down is basically like you're on a kind of steep incline, but you have a rope and you're kind of running down the hill very fast for holding on to the rope. But I had radio on my back too, which was on a Alice pack, which is this old core backpacks with the metal frame on the back. So I guess someone didn't sweep my course or whatever, but I ended up going real, and then all of a sudden there was like a 15-foot drop straight down. And so I couldn't slow myself down. I falling off the cliff and landing parallel on my back on a rock.
Damn, dude.
And I pinched my lower back, and I mean, I finished the course, but I was in pain the entire time. But the right side of my back, I remember just swelling up. Like my pants were like bulging out. It looked like the right side hard ass on my right side, even though I was in perfect shape. But that's how I got the injury.
Wouldn't happen to me.
17 years ago.
Wouldn't happen to me. I'd have got up. They'd have rebuilt me like the $6 million man.
Well, first off, they would probably deny you. They take one look at you and be like, no.
I'd have got through boot camp. They'd have put me in the kitchen.
Now, back then, you had to lose. They allowed you in boot camp.
I know.
Back when you were a lard ass.
I know. They're like, sir, are you sure you need to be here? You need to be at Richard Simmons Weight Watchers.
They'd put you in food service. They're like, yeah, we know where this guy needs to go.
I know. No, they wouldn't put me in food service because he would eat all the snacks.
Oh, that's true. You'd eat all MREs. There'd be no rations left for the rest of the time.
They'd be like, sir, you just ate 400,000 calories worth of MREs.
Be careful there. MRE, 4,000 calories.
Dude.
That's like for a whole day. But some people eat 3 meals a day with 3 MREs.
Dude, we got a bunch of them during the
1,000 calories.
when we had the hurricanes down here, man. We got a bunch of them, and they're actually pretty good. Like they have like Skittles and all kinds of stuff in them. I remember I ate 3 of them one time. I ate the bread, and like 4 days later, I was like this. I was like, "What's wrong with me?" I was all,
When you have bread, like you literally can't.
Dude,
but when you do,
dude, that cheese was
hard law.
Dude, that cheese, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, the cheese spread. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, Grant. Let's get to some gaming news.
Let's talk about it.
All right. So first off, guess who we're talking
about? Your friends are back in the news.
Ubisoft sends an apology in Japanese and English to Japanese fans of Senator Assassin's Creed. Basically, after all, Yasuke actually being a samurai is a matter of debate and discussion. So they admitted to that. Stuff is really centered around because including IGN and Ubisoft, pushed that he was some legendary samurai.
They did.
Wikipedia's got changed. History. It's for the sake of this game.
Every bro.
No one was allowed to say anything different. This is the main center point of this discussion. Oh no, but it's racist.
You had every fat guy in a kimono. That's on Twitter arguing with you
because of the altering of this history around this guy, the gatekeeping, I guess you could say. So anyway, basically the whole debate came to them trying to change history and fit their narrative to sell the game. But they finally admitted after what's his name, Thomas Lockley, that they grandstanded for, and he was the only major historian on this matter, and he is always right. Oh, he was right.
I know.
While the other thousands of Japanese historians, they're just, basically coming back and saying that this is not correct. It is up for debate. But, the historians in East Asia are saying, or Japan are saying that this guy was not a legendary samurai.
I mean, you had guys bringing out like scrolls and stuff from the Nobunaga dynasty, and Thomas was like, nope, sorry.
So Thomas Lockley ended up disappearing after this, and it found out he was trying to alter his, and then after that failed, they found another person, Yama, another historian, but he basically just said everything he stated was just speculation and lacks evidence. But boy, when he first came out with some tweet,
he sure did.
Was reposting that stuff like it's a
He
historian.
came out like
ignoring the other 1,000 historians dismantling this.
Dude, he came out like the Prime Minister of Japan himself.
I know. He wanted those follows and stuff. He knew what he was doing.
He did. He knew exactly what he was doing. Speaking of Thomas Lockley, he probably got picked up by the Yakuza. So we probably won't see old Thomas again anymore.
Poor Thomas. Okay, so what happened out of all this? Being a Japanese like he's part of the Japanese Communist Party.
Yeah. So
the guy they grandstanded at first and didn't know who he was, but boy, did they were quick to repost everything he said just so they could defend their side of history. While at the same time ignoring all of his other historians. Well, he ended up being Japanese communist. So now they're kind of being quiet about him and not saying much about him. So now we get to the question, why not tout all the historians that say he isn't a samurai? Why not? Why? I mean, there's so many historians saying he's not a samurai, he was a retainer. And there's some historians saying, well, he might have been a samurai, but he definitely was a legendary samurai. And out of all those historians, that's these things, state that he was a legendary samurai.
You know what this would have been the easiest solution to all of this would have been like, hey, okay, even if he was or he wasn't, we don't know. How about that? We don't know. So we're just going to make a completely different game for him. How about that? We're not going to try to put him into a historic game. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to make like this history game and then just like it's like putting in the square peg in the round hole type deal where it doesn't fit. That's all they had to do.
Now, at the end of all this, like this is the point that everyone needs to understand. Even the people that are calling everyone racist for even disagreeing with this subject, that he was a legendary samurai, or even talking about Yasuke. The point that is not of his color. Touted him as a legendary samurai, Ubisoft and IGN and a lot of other people that are big in the gaming industry. They touted that he was a legendary samurai. Then they try to protect that version of their history by not allowing anyone else commenting on it and basically pushing away all the other historians disagreeing with them and not even citing any of them either, if you want to be fair. The bottom line is debate about this subject is healthy. Debate is healthy, and it's good to see all sides. Don't just go down that road because someone disagrees with you on this subject and call them a racist. Because first off, you're a dumbass and you have low IQ if you say that at the beginning. If that's your first statement from seeing someone that disagrees with this, you call them a racist, you're the low IQ dumbass. So just stop. All right. So the subject is people disagreeing with them gatekeeping history.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. And that's what you need to approach if you're going to talk about this subject before understand where people are coming from. All right.
They could have easily just, instead of just doing all that, they could have just used Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest samurai ever, and been done with it. That's all they had to do.
Well, bottom line is it's in feudal Japan. Use a damn Japanese samurai. I mean, just do that. I mean, how about you read the world's climate right now when it comes to what's going on? Just use a Japanese samurai. That's all you had to do.
That's all they had to do. That's it.
And it would have made so much sense. And you didn't have to create your own history and try to dismantle another side of history. You didn't have to do all that. All right. So let's go to Nelson. I think someone's in chat. Is Nelson?
Yes, Nelson. What's up, Nelson, man?
No, you just we're talking about Ubisoft right now. We're going to continue on because this is going to
we're on our first story.
Ubisoft. All right. So next is all right. So after all this came out, the apology and all that stuff in Ubisoft, guess who comes into the rescue of Sweet Baby Incorporated and Ubisoft and all those guys? Guess who comes in to save the day, Grant? Our friend Alyssa Mercante from Kotaku.
The couch showed up. So
she tweets basically what this is basically what she said. Everyone is a racist, and just his history is a racist. That's what she basically said. All right, disregard that the guy was a communist and everything like that, but that's what she basically tweeted. So she came to the rescue of immediately calling everyone racist because they disagree with people trying to safeguard their version of history and not allowing for open debate about this subject. Okay.
I feel like she's summoned like Captain Planet every time. like every time something goes down, she always shows up.
Captain Kotaku to the rescue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, what she did, she needs to quit worrying about tweeting this kind of stuff and worry about her damn business and saving that.
Which is doing terribly, by the way.
Yes, it is. Okay. That's it for the Ubisoft. Oh, to add to this, Ubisoft stock plummets 12% despite exceeding sales targets. Source that Park Place. They're a news site on the on Twitter right now, or X.
You had a lot of money put into Ubisoft, didn't you?
What?
Didn't you tell me the other day that you sunk your whole life savings into Ubisoft?
Nah, buddy. I make safe, careful approaches in investing. Safe.
Oh, that was me that did that. That was me that did that.
Is the total opposite of safe and careful.
I like to I like to live on the edge. I put all my money into Ubisoft.
You're that Bitcoiner in 2019.
I am. Just let it ride. Yeah. I let it ride out.
Let it ride all the way to 100K and then sell.
No, I'm the guy. No,
5K.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy who bought what was it, dude? I had like 30-something thousand shares of Dogecoin or more.
Yeah.
And then it got up like really high, but I already sold it by then. I sold it like 2 weeks later for like $100 profit. Got up to like 60. I'm that guy. That's what I do. I sell low.
Yeah.
I buy high and sell low. That's what I do.
There you go. All right, so that's all of Ubisoft news. Let's get to the next subject. Okay, Grant, we talked about this on our last podcast. Mary Kinney. All right, she is the director, and she was the narrative director for the Wolverine game, right? She left and then went to CD Projekt Red, creator and Cyberpunk and all those good games.
Yep.
All right. Well, she is also an avid supporter and pusher of Sweet Baby Incorporated. Trash. And she's back in the news.
Why is she back in the news?
She is back in the news because she stated that must be pulled to ensure that LGBTQ is pushed in games. Why do you have to pull this level? Why do you have to push LGBTQ? Why can't it just be added, naturally in games? How a lot of developers have added it naturally.
What
you're telling me is you're pushing a message that is not going to be good, that a lot of gamers don't fucking care about.
Exactly. None of them care about it. And here's the easy solution to that. Just make an LGBTQ game and let people know what it is and let the numbers do what they do. Right?
Grant, that is a fantastic idea.
I should be on the board. They should
talked about this too before. And plenty of times. Correct, Grant. Make your own game.
That's it.
Make it all LGBTQ. Plus,
you can do whatever you want with it. You can do
whatever the acronym is now. Before people start pulling their heads out and coming at us with pitchforks. But yeah, make your own game. There you go.
Exactly.
But don't know they can't.
Nope.
They just cannot do this because.
Why is that?
Well, first off, it won't fucking sell.
Not at all.
And they have to inflict these popular IPs with their bullshit that doesn't belong. Now, as soon as I say that, people are like, Ed, you are a bigot for saying that. I didn't say you can't have gay themes in video games. You can't have a gay character. Go ahead and add all those. I welcome it, honestly. If it's
just don't turn straight characters gay. Like, if you want a character, just make him gay. Simple.
Exactly. Create your own characters, add them in a video game, whatever.
That's it.
No one cares about that.
But don't make Mario gay.
But certain people on that side think we care about that. What we care about is when you touch current characters, current IPs, and current basically games and how their stories are, and you inject this nonsense into the narrative.
Correct. When it's not needed,
it's just obviously not plans to do.
Yeah, it doesn't enhance the story in any way.
It doesn't. And guess what? In the Cyberpunk and The Witcher 3, there's already LGBTQ representation.
Cool. Exactly. No big deal.
There's already representation. But are you telling me that she's going to pull a lever and basically inject a bunch of stupid shit in these games?
No, don't do all that.
This is how your game will fail.
But here's the thing: is they think that there's not enough people who will push back on that. You can get on Twitter right now and see how much pushback there is for all that shit. Like, you can.
It's everywhere.
It's all That's and then they'll turn around and blame the gamers.
You're correct.
That's what they'll do. No, that's their cop out. They're turning around and blame the gamers.
So we continue with her. Basically, she recently detailed in an interview with Dual Shockers in May that everything must be done to push the LGBTQ plus agenda. She reacted to the GLAAD report bemoaning the lack of LGBTQ plus characters in video games, describing the report as heartbreaking.
Oh.
She also stated the GLAAD report tells us, this is a quote, the GLAAD report tells us something key.
Well, first of all, what the fuck is the GLAAD report? What is this?
I don't know, dude. I've heard of it before. It's obviously something dealing with gays, homosexual stuff, and
like, is this the gay news? Is this like?
I don't know. Look, we'll Google it after the show. Okay. The report, but basically, quote, she says the GLAAD report tells us something key. Games are a way for LGBTQ people to socialize. But it also tells us of something heartbreaking, that LGBTQ gamers don't feel that developers are thinking of them when they design games.
I've never heard that in my life. And nobody's telling that LGBTQ people can't socialize in games at all. Like nobody says, "Oh, you're gay, you can't be here." I've never seen that in my life ever.
But they do socialize in games. I've seen it
Exactly.
in Final Fantasy 14. I've seen it in
Exactly.
the first Descendant I'm playing right now.
Correct.
I've seen
I
it in
know.
World of Warcraft. No one cares.
Nobody cares.
They don't.
I don't care.
Listen, listen, people that if you played an online game and you're a gay person, trans or whatever, and you got on there and there was some troll that started bullying you, well, fucking welcome to online gaming.
Yeah, that
It doesn't
happens
matter
everywhere.
you're gay. If you weren't gay, if you had a fucking zit on your nose, people would start making fun of you.
Yeah, Ed has that all the time. He's got zits on his face all the time. So
No,
yeah.
I don't. But anyway, so like, I'm sorry you got bullied by a troll. Everyone has been in online gaming. Everyone's made fun of someone.
I got bullied by a 12-year-old on Call of Duty. So
I know. I got camped by some 12-year-old Korean kid that was playing a rogue, and I
for real.
In World of Warcraft in Warsong Gulch. I used to come out of that freaking graveyard, and this kid would just sneak up and one-shot my ass.
Exactly. So here's the thing: is gamers, 99.9% of gamers don't care about your sexual orientation, don't care if you're trans. My thing is, can you tank? That's it. That's it. Can you tank? Can you heal? That's it.
Can you DPS? Do you know how to play your class?
Correct.
And don't run around like Grant does during raids and wipes the whole party.
Do not do anything that I do. Do the exact opposite of what I do.
Who gets bullied a lot in games? It's Grant.
Me.
And he's bullied by me.
I get bullied by Ed all the time.
Played World of Warcraft together, and I'd run some simple ass dungeons, tanking, just completely destroying the dungeon. Grant would come on here, pull a boss accidentally, and doesn't know how to use his damn rogue character. I used to just talk shit about in front of everyone in the party, and we didn't know these people that were in our party.
That's it. I mean, hey, I just roll with it. I'd cry about it later. And when I was by myself, I'd cry on my pillow, but I didn't do it in front of everybody.
Okay, so that's the point. Okay, quit being overly dramatic on this crap.
Overly dramatic.
Developers are going to add gay people, trans. They're going to add things in their games, but you don't need to push them and make them to do this shit.
Correct.
And it doesn't need to be revolved around it. It'll happen naturally because that is the way of the world. You're human. We're human. They're going to add it.
That's it.
And guess what? Sorry. There's gay games out there that have no heterosexuals. Are we complaining about it?
Not at all.
Okay. So, all right. This entire source came from that Park Place again, from X. Okay. Next.
They got to start paying you.
Oh, man, they'd be posting some good articles. So I just pull it up.
I think that's your website. I think you created that website on
No, it's definitely not
behind my back. I think you did it behind my back.
Some guy's website that's pretty popular in the Star Wars space.
You created it behind my back, and now you're making lots of money off of it, and you're not telling me.
I'd call it something else.
Boardwalk.
Yeah, Boardwalk. There you go. No, anyway, I call it the Knight's Place.
Oh God, no, I'd go out of business.
Okay, next piece of news. You got anything else on this before we move on?
No. It's the same thing people complain about for. I mean, here's the thing: is it's not going to end. They'll be complaining about it 2 years from. I guarantee we'll be talking about this 2 years from now.
Correct. Okay.
If we're still here.
Yeah, and we got someone in the chat, Nelson. He makes a great point. Great financial decision to cater to the 0.5% of potential buyers and piss off 50% of the potential buyers. Genius business plan.
It's more than 50%, man. It's like it's like 80%.
But yeah, agreed. I mean, that is the case of it. We've talked about it on plenty of times on our other podcasts. It's just stupidity.
Yep.
And a lot of developers are pushing back on this and telling them go F off. Especially Sweet Baby Incorporated.
Especially the Korean development companies.
They do not, man. Them Eastern.
They don't play.
They're like turning the heat up now. Like even becoming throwing out some more crazy stuff.
They're like, oh yeah, you know what they're gonna like, just for that they're gonna like Sweet Baby Incorporated. Go send them an email. They're like, oh yeah, just for that we're gonna give her bigger tits and a bigger ass, and her clothes are gonna be smaller.
Here's some lingerie that's see through.
Well, you go have you go have all the goon squad over there going, okay, they won't be able to handle it.
Dude, the Kotaku couch is going to break down, and I don't know what's going to happen.
That shit's going to have extra smell on it.
Explode.
Fucking Dorito chips everywhere.
Alyssa McCartney, so come out quick with the tweet or article.
Oh,
come out quick. All right,
that
let's
little boy
move on,
haircut.
man. Let's move on. All right. So this is something related to our last podcast when we were talking about the basically the business practices of Microsoft doing the price hike on Game Pass. All right, so Call of Duty. This is why one of the main reasons why, and we were right about this too. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 coming to Xbox Game Pass following the price hike. This is what we all but confirmed and talked about on our last podcast, on a
Yep.
few podcasts, and basically the Microsoft slash Xbox, they should have been straight forward with this as soon as they did this price hike. If you do a price hike, you want to be honest to people. I understand you don't want to be honest sometimes, but just be
What's the
honest.
price hike? What's the price hike? Like how
Uh,
much difference is it?
it went up by like 15%, I think, total
So I mean,
price increase.
not like a overall like, oh my god, we're going to
It's
cancel
not a
because that's way too much.
huge. It's not a huge hike, but it is an increase, and they were very hush hush about it for a while, and they didn't really explain the reason why. But we all know there's all their factors, economy, all that other stuff, right? But there's also this, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. That causes a price hike because now they're giving Call of Duty on Game Pass. I mean,
I
that's a big deal.
mean,
It's one of the biggest online games in the
they
world right now.
they had to. There
They
was no
had to.
way. Yeah, they
Yeah.
had to do that. But I said it last time, did I not? I said they're going to have to give them something big for that,
Yeah.
and they
So this
did.
is
That's
something
good.
big.
I mean that
Call of
justifies
Duty, I
it.
mean, it is one of the biggest games in the world. So
I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
there's
I
that.
mean, I'm eventually going to get an Xbox, and when I get Game Pass, I mean that's
Yeah.
worth it. You know,
Yeah. But I mean, I can't get into Call of Duties like the new
I can't
ones.
either. I
I
can't either.
like the
But I mean, it.
campaign, but I mean, I play for the campaign and stop because then they have all that weird costumes and shit, and it just
You're the only one that plays it for the
stupid.
campaign.
I know I'm like the only guy.
They're
I like
like,
the campaign because there's real like military guys like retired lieutenant colonels and colonels that work on these games and how the scenes look. I remember playing the first Modern Warfare in the first one of the first places that looks like Fallujah basically
mm-hmm.
that you in. I mean that shit brought back PTSD.
Not
I mean it
damn.
was that's how greatly done it was. But anyway, let's keep moving on.
I'm glad you ain't have PTSD. Otherwise, I'd be sitting next to you. Next thing you know, you choking me out. I'm like,
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, Grant. Let's move on to this subject.
all right.
All right, another confirmation: AI is already taking jobs in the video game industry. We already knew this kind of. We already saw it happening with all the layoffs and everything like that. Not just because of the economy, but pretty much, game developers are taking AI very seriously nowadays and incorporating it in their business.
It's moving at a
But
faster pace than what people thought. That's the thing.
it's moving insanely fast. So,
Yeah.
all right, Activision Blizzard laid off. One of the reasons why Activision Blizzard laid off so many employees, only to later find out they are actually utilizing generative AI for a lot of their art and game design. So this is going to be a continued effect in these bigger studios realizing to try to use AI. I'm not sure how advanced it is right now, but I'm assuming it's pretty well off right now if they're laying off employees and replacing their jobs with AI. So we're assuming that AI is to the point in the next 5 to 10 years, it's
Maybe
not
close.
going
I'd
to
say,
be
yeah.
looking good for a lot of jobs in the gaming industry, depending on
I
what
say
your
more
job
like,
is.
3 to 5. And if anybody's looking for a job, the job description for this would be called prompt engineering. They already have courses you can turn. Basically, it's learning how to type, what to type using AI to generate the stuff that they're looking for.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that's their next step for people that are these jobs are taking over is them learning and mastering the use of AI for their
the
jobs.
prompts.
So they
Yeah, I
can
mean,
keep
it's not.
their
I
job,
mean, it's not about
job
what
security.
you type into AI. It's how you type it in. I mean, there's just
Yeah. All right. Well, so we'll see how that goes in the next couple of years. All
dude.
right.
I
So,
think the way that it's moving, honestly, I think it's going to be like 3 to 5.
all right.
Honestly, I
This is
don't
where I
think it's.
think things need to be, states, and I'm not going to really say the federal. I know. I would say the state governments at least step in for this, like trying to protect jobs from AI the best they can without, I guess, having such a drastic effect on the economy. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the truth. I mean, you say that, but I mean, you're not going to stop these greedy. I mean, that's all. And at the end of the day, that's all it is greed.
But
I
see,
mean,
yeah, exactly. Because if you do that, create a law where it kind of protects certain jobs from AI, then if it hurts the business, then the business moves, and
yeah,
that's going to be having an even worse effect.
yeah, and
So,
they'll go to the Middle East and they'll
and they'll
pay,
just go to China, who's going to just do whatever with
yeah,
their
and that's the
malpractices in
thing.
business.
I mean, you can literally, honestly, me and you are messing around with it. We're doing the jobs of 10 people and with just me and you. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So I mean,
yeah,
that's just where it's heading, man. I mean, they're going to be laying off. I mean, you got to think of everything that involves it. So like, and you're right, but I mean, I think in 2 or 3 years, there's not going to be any more need for programmers. Like, it's not perfect, but like I understand a lot of Python code. Like, I'm not like
yeah,
a super Python, guy. You know what I mean? I'm not like I couldn't sit there and like just program a bunch of shit. But I mean, I understand a lot of the language. Um, it's pretty damn near good. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, there's some, but I mean, you got to think about it. All you would need was one person to run something and then go back and fix the errors. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, it's literally doing the job of 7 people, especially if they're trying to code. I don't know if they're making a video game, they're having a code whatever, and then all you need is one person to do that and just go back in there, and you just need like one main engineer, and then you don't need the need for 6 more. I mean, that's just sad. I mean, it's sad,
and
but I
you're
mean,
pushing out video games a lot faster.
yeah. I mean, computer programming honestly is going to be and I hate to say it, but it's going to be a null job. It'll be an ancient job, a job that's no longer needed. And
Yeah,
but I mean, you know, I mean, I hate it. It sucks, but
yeah,
I
it
mean,
does suck.
because they'll eventually come out something where you can there's something that where you can just make your own code. It'll walk you through step by step how to make whatever you want with code. I mean, they'll eventually come out with stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If they already don't have something on their way like that. Hey, you want to make a such and such? Well, this is how you do it. You just do this and type this, and you know what I mean. It's all gonna be plug and play type deal. It's kind of like how they do web. When they did web, how they create websites. Wherever you remember, you used to have to program websites. You had to use
yeah,
HTML. You had to program it like that. Now they have a bunch of click and drop and click and stuff like that, and that's what they're going to do. Basically, I mean, in a way, in a sense, doing it with programming for whatever.
yeah. That's true. Okay, let's see. Next piece of news. Actually, let me go ahead and do this real quick. I am going to retweet our live stream right now. Check out our live stream going now.
Where'd you put that on? Pornhub?
Yeah, buddy. Okay, next piece of news, Grant. We are going to talk about Xbox again. I kind of want to actually lead into this, and we'll get it on the next thing I had in the line or in the list.
You know what? Next episode, we're doing 100% PlayStation. That's what we're doing. We're doing all play. I don't care what it is. All PlayStation.
Yeah. Okay. So Xbox fires back. You remember when the last podcast we talked about the FTC claiming of degrading business practices when
Yep.
on our last podcast. Anyway, so Xbox fires back at FTC claims that Game Pass has been degraded. Essentially, Microsoft is claiming that the FTC is trying to reinvent its case against the company's Activision Blizzard acquisition, and that is wrong, quote unquote, wrong to call this a degraded version of the discontinued Game Pass for console offering. Okay, the filing also notes that the FTC, quote unquote, barely mentions subscription at trial. And they restate that Microsoft signed a 10-year deal with Sony to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation as part of the original conditions for the merger. I mean, they are right about that, but it doesn't change the fact that they increased the price of a game and didn't come out public to their players, the people that buy their products, and saying why basically they just had to release a statement to the public saying this is why we are increasing the Game Pass subscription price.
Correct.
So
You know what would have been a baller move is if because I don't play Call of Duty anyway, is if Microsoft would have bought out the 10-year deal, and then Sony could no longer have it. That's what I'd have done something. I'd have done something like that. I'm like, look, I'm paying off the Sony deal. That way they don't get it no more.
And Microsoft
Start starting now.
About buying Valve for billions of dollars. Valve owns Steam. Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh,
you know what? They're doing all this shit before they're fucking bringing World of Warcraft to console. Let's not talk about that again. We're not going to talk about that. It's going to make me upset.
They're not bringing World of Warcraft.
No, I know that. I said they're doing all this shit before that.
Okay. All right. Oh, this source came from IGN, by the way. Okay. Move on. All right, let's talk Flintlock.
Oh,
it's
poor
dead.
Guys. Poor guys.
I feel sorry for these guys.
I do too.
SBI sold off A44 Games. Most basically has not. It has no players, and again, when it hits, they did though. Sweet Baby Incorporated from the credits. They didn't put them in the credits, so that's a good move, I guess. For this source came from Drums and Rainbow.
You know, you can remove the name, but you can't remove the virus that has infected your game. I mean, man, I hate it for them, man, because
like the developers, you do not need.
Don't need them, man.
And he can
look, call me in the head. We'll put our name on there. We won't even touch it. We'll just put our name on there. That's it. Just call it.
Good. Got some ideas from some characters now. Yeah. RPG, action shooter, any kind of game. I'll give you some characters.
Let them get you out my office. Get out of here. That's what I'd say. Get out of here. You're going too in depth.
No, you give me those eyes.
No,
give me that confused look.
I know, like that. I'm gonna call security. I'm gonna hit the button. I'm gonna hit the button under the desk. That way you don't know that I'm calling security on you.
You be the guy that has like a floor that opens.
Exactly. I'm getting you going. You going
in your
exactly. You going right to the gators in the sewer. That's exactly where you're going.
That kind of guy. That's what you spend the entire money from the company on this stuff.
They'll be like, "Why are you so broke?" I'll be like, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this door?" And I hit the button. That's why I'm broke.
Yep. Okay. Next piece of news. Dude, this is hilarious. I don't know if you read this. I read this article. It's another IGN source or IGN article. All right. So in April, the USA's Team Jackpot, their team name is Jackpot, that won the Nintendo Splatoon 3 World Championship.
Well, I didn't know there was a fucking Splatoon 3 champion, like a tournament. Like
that's not even a punchline. But if we keep going. All right, so it earned them an in-game appearance. Like they're actually see them in-game, and it cemented its members as the first players to be commemorated in the Splatoon game. It's insane. However, after racist messages sent by the team surfaced in the months following the event, Nintendo has now announced that it will invalidate the team's win and remove their likenesses from the game. Now, why did they get this? Why did they get their title taken away and all this stuff removed? Let's continue.
Oh, man.
So they withdrew the team after the racist remarks they said. Dude, you got to watch this one video. It's insane. All right. So anyway, the players competing used racist remarks at other players that played the game and competed against via Discord and other social media. The stream shows these players calling other players chasing him monkeys.
Oh,
and
my
he keeps
God.
saying this word over and over, that he has monkeys coming after him, quote unquote. Also, one of these players posted a picture of a stuffed monkey eating a banana, referencing one of the other players on Twitter or Discord. I think it was on Discord.
What the hell? God.
Dude, like, it's insane.
I bet these guys got I bet one of these guys got a broccoli haircut, don't they?
Oh, they got to. One of them has
to.
They
probably said, for real, on God. For real.
So, Jackpot is currently not the current reigning Splatoon 3 world champions. Jeez, man. Like this, you got to be careful what you say on social media, man. Got to be careful.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. even let's just say you I don't know. I guess I gotta watch the video. Are there and I'm not saying this because I
You
don't know
gotta
anything
watch the
about
video.
Splatoon. Are there monkeys in the game? Like, are there
No, no, no,
characters
no,
like that?
no,
Okay,
no,
so
no.
he was literally talking about an African American person. Is it basically what you're getting at?
One of the guys said he was.
Okay, okay. See, I thought at first I thought it was like a misunderstanding. There's monkeys in the
I
game.
can't. I cannot be 100 on that, but yeah, one of the characters they called Monkey is an actual black person.
Oh God, yeah, no, you
Yes,
can't do
correct.
that, Chief. Yeah, you
Exactly.
can't. No, you can't do all that. Like, you got to have some self awareness, bro.
I'm gonna
Like
assume these
game,
guys are
here's the
very
thing.
young.
Here's the thing is like I've never taken I've been heated at video games just like everybody, like NCAA, but I have never ever in my life gotten mad to the point to where I said something where I would even think about saying something racist to somebody. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand how mad you have to be. Like that's like something wrong in your mind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That you have to get that mad. Um, oh my God, man.
All right, dude.
No.
Enough of that. All right. Good news. Let's talk the first Descendant game that I 18 hours of playtime with.
Mm.
Okay. As you guys saw yesterday, I posted a gameplay of Valby. I will probably do a live stream of Bunny next. That Valby is actually pretty maxed. I still can add a few more
Hey, hold
modules
on.
to her.
Back up. How
But
many viewers did you have watching you play?
let's see. I had about 300
300
live,
people were watching you
and then
play.
like almost 400 at the end of the video staying out.
Yep.
Well, for me, that's a lot. Being how
Yeah.
small we
Yeah.
are currently, we're very
Yeah.
small channel right now. But that is a lot. But yeah, I did Valby yesterday with some like farming. I showed like the farming. I showed some of his descendants. But I mostly like did a lot of the show it like how easy she makes things with her water skills. Basically,
Yeah.
just running
We
around.
got some new people. We got some new people talking to us. What's going on, guys?
Hey, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yes. Appreciate it.
To continue, it's still in the top 10 Steam games of most played currently in the top 10. 21 days after its launch. So also, a new Descendant is coming out here pretty soon. They're going to release a new Descendant you can play. So,
Let
I
me
mean,
guess. You'll have that level 40 in like 2 days.
for a game that scored 5 out of 10, it's doing pretty damn well still. 5 out of 10 from IGN is part of the score.
Yeah. That was yeah.
I think my review was a lot fairer and putting the emphasis on gameplay a lot more than they did.
Yeah. Oh, you got an argument with a guy. Well, they literally did say that. Like, no, they didn't.
No, they didn't. All right, so let's continue. All right, next piece of news. We already talked about Flintlock. We already talked about the Splatoon 3 World Championship team being
I didn't even know that was
talking
a
saying
thing.
racist remarks.
That's
All
how.
right,
That's how you know we're old.
let's talk Helldivers 2, brother. All right, so
Now, my brother-in-law and brother love this.
Oh yeah, are they part of the 10K players that only play it right now?
I don't know if they play it right now. No.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Helldivers 2, it was in the hundreds of thousands of players.
Dude, it was elite when it came out. It was fun.
Yeah, but current players. I don't know if this has stuff to do to the change of this. I don't know what it really has to do with. I don't know if like the
Well, here's the
PlayStation
thing.
account
So
affected it or because a lot of people in certain countries couldn't play it. I don't know the whole facts about it.
I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you why I quit playing it. It got so repetitive.
Yeah.
It's just like the same thing over and over. I mean, like when you're new to it, it's fun, But once you start getting the hang of it and you're doing the same, seems like the same missions and killing the same things. I mean, yeah, you can make the difficulty harder, and it is harder. Don't get me wrong, but it's still the same thing. You're not
Yeah.
getting any. And it's kind of like if they made it more like Destiny instead of like having to buy your guns, like getting drops from enemies, you know what I'm saying? Like rare drops from like the big if they did
Yeah.
it like that, I think they would have a lot more people playing it because you're getting something.
Yeah. I also think part of its failure is that they didn't realize how successful it's going to be, but they also didn't realize they probably did realize this, but they should have been ready for more updates faster than they pushed them, are currently
Yeah.
pushing them to keep that high player base count going. new content faster. I don't think they were prepared with new content when they released this game, to push it out on a regular schedule. Saying that, though, they are coming out with the biggest expansion yet. Really, I mean, it's one of the only expansions. They've had a few patches here and there, but so Helldivers 2 Escalation of Freedom adds the Super Helldive as well as an
God.
Impaler, Spore Charger, and you'll escort terminid larva, and a new swamp biome are on the way as well on August 6th. So that's coming out a couple weeks.
I'll be honest with you. This will bring. I mean, I don't know how long it'll last. I mean, this will bring everybody back just to play the new stuff for a while. I don't know how long it'll last. I mean, they'll get back to 100,000, whatever it was, for a little while. Yeah, how long it'll last, that I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't think they gotta keep pushing that content to keep people interested in the game.
I mean, because it's just like anything. I mean, even when I stopped playing like Diablo 3, every time they came out with something new, I'd get back on and I'd get sucked back in for a little bit. You know what I mean? So I mean, it'd be the same thing for everybody. They'll get back in on it. They'll play it for a little bit, and then, I mean, I'll probably play it. I'll probably play it just for the new stuff.
I played it for a couple weeks. Kind of lost interest after a couple weeks.
I mean, because it gets repetitive. Yeah, you need to play with us. You need to play with me, Ted, and Gus.
Yeah. How about you guys play the first Ascendant with me?
Yeah. You know what's funny? You know what's funny is I was actually talking to them last night, and they were talking about getting on playing because they're watching. You're watching your stream, yeah.
Well, if they need opinions from the pro, just tell them to ask me.
I'll tell them to give me a call.
Okay, off topic gaming news. All right, Grant, question, topic. Let's discuss.
All right.
Can Deadpool and Wolverine movie save the MCU? Where it's currently at.
Where it's currently at? I don't know. Maybe. It depends. It depends on what they're following it up with. Like, is this movie going to be great? Yes, this is going to be a good movie. Deadpool's great. Wolverine's great. You know what I mean? Unless they fuck it up. Like, I mean, I don't know. Just judge. I mean, these are one of those movies.
Because say what you want about Ryan Reynolds, he puts out of all the movies he does, when it comes to effort, he puts his whole being into these movies.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
when it comes to creative decisions and everything like that. And he was the one that talked Hugh Jackman into coming back to full Wolverine.
Yeah. So I mean, it had to be a good movie. It had to be a good script for him to even consider it. You know what I mean?
I think their interaction is going to be really funny.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great movie. Now, here's the thing: is like what's coming after that? That's the question. You know what I mean?
How good is it going to be? Like, what is it? New Captain America coming out, or Avengers, or whatever it is? Yeah,
if it's a new Avengers, maybe yes. If it's a new Captain America wasn't just like
they just lost so much interest in a lot of these. They lost people's interest with all these characters they tried pushing. Like, with
they try to correct. And they also try to do a bunch of side characters that nobody really cares about.
And no one cares. You know what I mean? And they're releasing another one coming up. I forget the name of it, but they're releasing another one that everyone's kind of like, why?
Yeah.
Why do we care about this character?
Like, here's the thing, and they were on such a good run, man. I mean, they dropped Avengers and they came out with Black Panther, which was a phenomenal movie. And then they went to like what?
The Marvel, the Avengers, everything like that died after Endgame. To me,
yeah, they yeah. But I'll say this. The last one I really enjoyed was the third Spider-Man, the one where everybody forgot who he was and all that. I
agree with that. Those Spider-Mans were good.
Yeah, that was good. But man, I mean, it's kind of like I like the first Venom. I didn't like the second.
I like the Venoms.
I didn't like the second one.
Yeah, they really missed the mark when they had Carnage and everything, and they had Woody Harrelson too. They really missed the mark on making it really R-rated and doing what Carnage does best.
Exactly.
Really missed the mark on that.
It's going to get to a point to where they're going to have to start over with like X-Men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because, they tried to start over and try to switch a lot of things around with all this fucking multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
But I understand the multiverse exists, but they went way overboard with it.
Correct.
way overboard to justify things that they didn't need to really justify because they
It
shouldn't
was
have made
yeah.
them in the first
It was
place.
just an excuse to put whatever they wanted. To do things how they wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're going to have to start over with a new. Because I mean, here's the thing: is it's not like you killed off because you killed off Iron Man. You know what I mean? You can't bring. I mean, of course, you could probably say, "Oh, he's from a different universe, Iron Man from a
A
different universe."
multiverse.
But I mean, yeah, but come on now. At that point, you know, um, they shouldn't have killed off. They shouldn't have killed him off because that was a solid franchise as well. I
You know,
mean,
the last Thor movie wasn't that good, but like Ragnarok was really good.
yeah,
And I heard Hemsworth basically said that when he comes back for Thor, he wants to be kind of going back to who Thor was. But because they went way overboard with the corny comedy with him,
yeah. They started.
and they
Yeah, I
got
mean,
Thor's say
he's a
what you want,
badass. He's
he's a
not a
badass.
comedian. He's not a
Yeah,
comedian.
you can add like what they did with Ragnarok because it was a perfect of him being a badass and some jokes on the side. That's
Yeah.
fine because that's just how a lot of the Marvel
Well, they call
movies
those
work.
one-liners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do that. He'd throw you
Yep.
through a
They
picture and
just
be like,
went
"Hang
like
around."
the most
You know
recent
what I mean?
Thor was just like Love and Thunder was just like constant corny comedy.
No, yeah,
Went way okay.
yeah.
All right, Grant. That's all gaming news. We're at 50 minutes, actually almost 51 minutes.
Hey,
Hey. We had a lot to talk about today, buddy.
we did, we did.
Okay, Grant. Now guess what time it is? The core of our
All right.
show.
Yep.
Go ahead.
We had a request. We had a request. Somebody wanted us to do a top 10. Well, it's actually going to be two top fives broken down into different genres. Um, it's our top five single player games and our top five multiplayer games. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll do first for single player, then you go, and then you can do first for multiplayer.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so let's get this up.
Please start with number five. You can actually, if you have, I have an honorable mention. So if you have an honorable mention, feel free to add it.
Okay, I can probably do one. Okay,
Okay.
single player. My top five single player games. Number one. No, I'm just playing with you.
Yeah, you
Number
would.
five. All right. Number five. My number five best single player game that I have ever played. Don't get all mad because this is my top five list.
No. I'm just break it down. I'm gonna break it down real quick because like the way that I've had these done, the way these aren't like the best games ever for me. These are the best games that mean a lot to me that I played a bunch myself. You know what I mean? Like these are games that like if I play these games, they bring back memories and they bring back because I played them
the
with
way
my
I did it I did that for my multiplayer. For my single player, what I did was games just wowed me.
Yeah,
like
I got you.
At any age.
I got you. Go ahead.
All right, so my number five is Baldur's Gate 3.
Mm-hmm.
That is game with the amount of choices you can make in that game, the dialogue, the class, how you make your class, your character, everything in that game. What you can discover by just going off the map sometimes, decisions you make. I mean, everything in that game is so, I guess, immersive, and so many opportunities and choices you can make. It really wowed me when I played the game, and I did beat it twice with different characters and different like choices in the game to see what those choices would make me go, like an evil route and stuff like that, and a good route. But yeah, this game just wowed me. It's a very well done game. It's I'd say one of the best games you could put in the top 20 easily of best games of all time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number four. This kind of went to multiple games, but I'm keeping it into the series. I'm going to just say one of them. But Mass Effect 2.
Okay.
The Mass Effect series itself was phenomenal, but Mass Effect 2 was the bread and butter of it. Mass Effect 3 was good, but it wasn't such a huge jump from 1 to 2 when it came to storytelling, gameplay, and everything like that. It was kind of more the same with a little bit different combat. But Mass Effect 2 really was the best out of the series, and it was just a sci-fi epic. You know what I mean? It was exploring the galaxy, the good and evil, the story, your main character involvement, the choices you make is just like Baldur's Gate 3. The Mass Effect 2 and the series is my number four. It's just a phenomenal game, phenomenal series. Not much of a fan of the ending of 3, but overall the series was wonderful. All right, my number 3, the OG. I had to have it in here, regardless of anything, is Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
Chrono Trigger, even when I was a kid, the lasting effect it had on me from playing video games from even after beating Chrono Trigger when I was a kid. I always compared so many games to Chrono Trigger, and like that was my banner for so long. You know what I mean? Chrono
Mm-hmm.
Trigger was the banner of RPGs, not only RPGs, but storytelling and video games in general.
Yeah.
If you look in, and you know, we've talked about this before on our podcast on how people say, "Oh, it's such a basic story." Dude, this
Shit.
game was before its time, and the story is not basic.
It still holds up.
It still holds up. Phenomenal gameplay, combat, storytelling, everything in the game, and the multiple endings and all that stuff mixed in. Fantastic game. This game will always be in my top 5, regardless what kind of video game list you give me. Okay, number 2. This is going to follow my last top 10 list I gave greatest games I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
We did on another podcast. Number 2 is The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3's world is probably one of the best game worlds ever done in any game. How alive it is, how you can just walk down the street, some dude's burning some lady on the stake, and some bands playing in the bar, getting drunk, people partying on the streets. Side quests are like story, like its own stories within the game. That's what side quests are. I mean, there's no such thing as like a bullshit side quest in Witcher 3. It actually takes you on an adventure. Everything in this game, including the storytelling, is why it's my number 2. And it also had very good DLC content like Blood and Wine. The DLC content pretty much expanded this game way beyond what it was already. So Witcher 3, Geralt, and shame on you, Netflix, for ruining it, my show and my game. But yeah, The Witcher 3, number 2. All right, number 1, Grant, what do you think this is?
Oh, here he comes. He got to bust out his badge, his shield and
The
shield
Elden
and
Lord
sword.
is talking right now, so shut your trap. Number 1 game I've ever played, Elden Ring. You can say technically this is not a single player game, but it is to me because I played the entire game and beat it single player. I didn't summon
until you had
people
to have me
to
come
come
in there and
help
help
me,
you.
other players to come help me to beat stuff. I
Until
beat
you
the
had to
game
have
and
me.
also beat the DLC when it first came out within 48 hours.
I know. You called me and were like, "Hey, will you get on and help me beat this guy?" I was like, "Yeah,
No,
sure."
I never did that. Never. Don't listen to him. He's lying. All right, Elden Ring. It is pure masterwork of art. It is an art masterpiece. That's what it is. The exploration, the discovery of places, the boss fights, and the story that you have to find out what the story is insane to me. Like, to tell what the story is and what these characters are, sometimes you actually have to look at the equipment descriptions, because the equipment tells you the story when you find different pieces of equipment. So you can match together the story and along with the other side quests and side characters you can meet through the game and continue their story to kind of compilate this this mythological world that George R. R. Martin and From Software created, because that's what it is. They created their own mythology. Because if you look at how the demigods and like the gods and everyone in the game, those major characters that you fight later on in the game too, everything put together is like its own mythology they created.
Hey,
And
I just thought about this. Do you think they'll make a show out of this?
if they make yeah, there has to be a TV series, but it has. I think
It has to
they
be on
need to
HBO.
explain.
Can't be on. Has to be like a Game of Thrones. I mean, no, you got to
It
make
has
it
to
like.
be, but it has to be. They need to start with explaining the shattering and everything like that,
Yeah.
like the war of the demigods and all that stuff. They need to start with that, and then go into creating maybe a protagonist that's your tarnished, kind of like who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and continuing on with that. But if they do make a series, I think they should explain the story and compile all that with George R. R. Martin and From Software of what they know, and explain everything to them, and maybe even open the eyes of people that think they know the story very well, but they could have meant this and this for this character and all that stuff. Anyway, but yeah, so that's my top 5 for single player games, Grant.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, buddy. Your top 5.
All right. So I went a different route. Like these are these are not by far the best games ever made, but these have a lot of meaning to me because I can close my eyes and see when I played them, and I played them a bunch, and I mean a bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna start with an honorable mention. Um, we in the back in the like 91, 92, we got our first computer, and and when we first got a computer, we had games like Mech Warrior, Battle Chess, things like that. But a game that me and my sister, we're like 4 years apart. So when we were younger, we always played a bunch of games together and stuff. The game, it's the whole series. I just put the whole series in there. But my honorable mention, King's Quest, the King's Quest series.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
I mean, trying to have you have to type and move and figure out all the puzzles and stuff like that. It was just a lot of fun. And then you'd figure something out. We'd run in there and be like, hey, we figured it out. Next thing you know, we're all in there trying to, get to the next part of the game and stuff like that. Number 5, here we go. Ninja Gaiden 2.
Oh yeah.
So this game was very hard.
Yeah, it was.
But this game had the best story out of all of them. And I played this game so much. Like I beat it so many times. Like I would sit there and I would play over and over and over. And I remember I probably beat this game like 20 times, but this was one of my favorite, this is probably one of my favorite games. Is it one of the best games ever made? No, but it's a very good Nintendo game. Number 4, this one's off the beaten path. Number 4, Paperboy.
Damn.
No, okay. This game,
I remember that game.
yeah. So this game was great because me and my sister used to play this game all the time, and she was actually better at it than I was. But like we would sit there and we would stay up all night playing this game, trying to get to Sunday because you had to go Monday to, which I don't never understood why, because the paper doesn't run on Sunday, and you know what I mean. So I just never understood that. But and it was so hard because like you going down the street, next thing you got cars and tornadoes and the Grim Reaper and all this stuff coming at you and stuff like that, and we just had a lot of fun with it. Number 3 was a game that this was one of the first Nintendo games that I remember getting as a kid, and I wanted it. I didn't play it. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I saw the cover. The cover got me. Wizards and Warriors. The first one.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay.
Yeah, Wizards and Warriors.
And this game, I remember I stayed up all night playing this game, and I mean, it took me. It was hard, it's not hard now. I mean, the more I played it, the easier it got. But I mean, I got this on here because I just remember playing this game over and over. And this was always, I remember as a kid, this would be always a game that, like, if I was sick, I would play this game and I would beat it. This was one of those games. This was always like a feel good game that I would always play.
Yeah.
Number 2, when the Christmas of 1992, I got my Super Nintendo Entertainment System from Santa. And I was like, oh my God, it's just the greatest thing ever. And in that thing came Super Mario World.
Oh yeah.
And Super Mario World, just, jumping into the newer graphics, you're like, oh my God, the graphics aren't going to get any. Yeah, you just think
better than this.
Yeah, you think the graphics can't get better than this. You know what I mean? Like it's impossible. And I remember trying to, and I remember it being hard. Like there's so many secrets. Like if you had to go up here to get to this and unlock a secret world and all this other stuff, and it was just a lot of that. And it just, man, that game just brings back a lot of memories. Yep. Number 1, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I don't have any RPGs on here, by the way, just because otherwise I'd fill them all up with RPGs.
Like me.
And no, Zelda's not an RPG.
It's an adventure game.
Correct. I remember this. I remember when this game came. I remember. Do you remember the commercial? Do you remember the commercial for this game? Where it's like it showed like a first person view of like a guy going through a castle and like the door shutting behind him and all this other stuff.
So.
Yeah. So I got this game for my birthday. I think I turned I don't know, 7, maybe 6 or 7. And I remember I played this game, and this game was hard. Like this game, this is not an easy game. You know what I mean? Especially when you're young. And I remember having to like try to figure out the puzzles and stuff to myself. And I actually played this game with my father. My dad would come in there and play it with me. He'd be like, "Oh, you got to do this," and I'd be like, "Shut up, Dad! You don't know what you're talking about," whatever. And he'd be right, and I'd be like, "Oh, I hate this game." That's my number one single player game.
All right. Well, why don't you jump into the multiplayer?
All right. Here we go. So I have an honorable mention.
Now, before we start, this is the way we did this was not just online. We basically took online, co-op, couch co-op, LAN games, anything that was just multiplayer.
Yeah,
considered no multiplayer to create this.
So I do have 2 online games on here, and one of them is my honorable mention. My honorable mention is World of Warcraft. Just because that was actually the first online game that I really got real immersed into. And I remember playing it with everybody. I remember as soon as you, because I'll never forget when you got out of boot camp. You're like, "Hey man, do you play World of Warcraft?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude." And you're like, "Hey, well, let's get on, dude." And me and you would stay up all night playing this game. Remember that?
Yeah.
When you were stationed in South Carolina, or whatever, and we'd play this all night.
I was playing in Okinawa.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
But I couldn't play it with you because you're on different time. It was a different time.
Way different times.
Yeah. But I remember when you got to South Carolina is whenever we would boot up, man. And of course I sucked. I still suck, but it was good. That was good times, man.
Yeah, I got pretty good.
Number 5, I got this game for Christmas, and I'll never forget. Me and my brother beat this in like 50 or like probably in an hour. Number 5, Contra. This game was, and we didn't know about the code. This is before the Contra code came out. And we were just really good at this game, man. And I remember we beat it in an hour. And my mom was like, "You already beat it?" And we're like, "Well," she was like, "Well, tough shit. You got to keep playing it until you can afford another one or whatever, So yeah, number 5 is Contra to me. Number 4, and I was really good at this game. And I mainly played this by myself, but I also played with other people. Mortal Kombat 2 for the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
I was really good at this game. Like, I'm talking about, I was really good at this game. Like, if I could go back in time and there was tournaments there, I'd be an elite player. Like, I could literally get on there with Shang Tsung, turn into everybody, do everybody's fatality. You know what I mean? Like, in a heartbeat. Like, I would literally come home from school. My fat ass would sit down and eat 3 bags of super butter popcorn. This was after Power Rangers went off, and I would play. And I never forget the Game Pro had out, because you didn't have internet, so you had to use the Game Pro for all the moves and stuff. And I would sit there and I would sit there and beat the game with everybody, and I would master everybody's moves and stuff like that. But no, Mortal Kombat 2, I was an elite player at that game, and I'll never forget going to the arcade and being like 12 and like just waxing everybody.
Yep. I had that. I always did Scorpion.
Yep.
That was Scorpion combo.
Dude, I was Kung Lao. That was always my guy. He's still my guy. If I play Mortal Kombat now, that's who I always play with.
Yep.
Number 3, this takes me back to college, Halo.
Yeah.
So me and Ed and all our buddies from where we're from, we would all come over to my apartment, and sometimes Ed was there. Like, I'd wake up and Ed was up like, "How'd you get in?" And he was like, "The door was open." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." It's just like, and we would all we'd all have our hub set up, man. And this was this was ultimate gaming right here, man.
It was.
Everybody would be in a different room, and everybody would be on a TV. Everybody bring their Xboxes over.
Televisions face different ways.
Yes, yeah. We'd build we'd build like tents to make sure nobody could see. We'd have like
boxes stacked.
Dude, we were like 18 years old, looking like 4-year-olds with forts and shit. Yeah. Like, don't look. You know what I mean? Yep. And this game, like we didn't look. I go ahead and tell you, wasn't no woman going to get us to come out and go dancing at the club or whatever. We weren't doing none of that. We were playing Halo. This was the bane of every. This is the start of like the bane of every relationship. This is the game that tested everybody's relationship, and I guarantee you, there's probably many people who broken up over this game. So, this game was just super addicting. Like we would actually start it. Remember, we would start like at 6:00 in the evening. The next thing you know, it's like 5:00 in the morning,
Oh, God, dude.
And we'd have to go to class. And we'd have to go to class, and I'd be like, "What? I don't have to go to class?" And then I wouldn't go. So yeah, this was a This was a bank. This was bad. I have another honorable mention. I guess I should have put it on there, but I'm going to do it. I'm just going to throw it in there. I don't care. It's tied. Number 2, Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart was a good multiplayer game, especially when you did this like one of the first battles. You know what I mean? Everybody always talks about like GoldenEye and all that stuff, which is really good.
Yeah.
But Super Mario Kart for me was one that was that I would play with me and my sister and stuff like that, and we just play nonstop, just see who can win and stuff like that.
Yep.
My 2B, I know we're only supposed to do 5, was Age of Empires 2. Because this is like the first game I actually played online with other people.
Yeah, me too.
Playing, and you remember you'd come over and I'd be me and Gus, and like my brother-in-law, he'd come over and he'd be like, "Hey man, what you do?" Well, first of all, he'd hit me up with a text like, "Hey man, what you got to eat?" Because he eventually, he married my sister, and so he was always like family, and so he'd call me. It was fun. He didn't text me. He called. He would call my house at like 1 a.m, but like, "Hey man, y'all got anything to eat?" I'm like, "Yeah man, my dad made meatloaf." And next thing you know, here he comes pulling up, and we'd play Age of Empires from like midnight to like 4 a.m. during the summer,
Yeah.
and that was a great game. But my number 1, what you think it is? Old reliable
It's not Ultima, is it?
Ultima Online. This game right here was addicting as fuck. I know you didn't get into it because you didn't really play it, so you're a poser. Yeah, I ain't gonna let you talk shit about a game you ain't never
I'm not
played.
a poser because I don't rep the game.
Exactly, but I'm saying, but you should have played it. This game was addicting as fuck. Like if I would have played this game over Halo, yeah, I definitely would have dropped out of college. Like they wouldn't. I'm going to tell you. This was the first game I played with my family. We would all get on and we would we'd stay up till hour. Man, I'm talking about the sun coming up playing this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's my number 1.
All right. It's funny how yours ended up. Mine is kind of similar. All right. So my number 5 top multiplayer game I've ever played is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay.
So this came out a little bit later on Wii U and Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this game, dude, there's 2 games that I've ever seen my brother Joey play.
Oh God.
Duck Hunt. While he's
I can imagine. I didn't use a real gun for that.
My dad and him would walk in with full camouflage on and start using my little Nintendo gun to shoot ducks and stuff like that. And Mario Kart 8. And he would play this against my daughter, who, when he played against her, she was like 12 or 11. And she would whoop his ass all over the place because she was really good at the game. But then my older sister Jennifer, she'd jump in and start playing against Joey and my daughter. My daughter still whoop everyone's ass. There's only one person she could never beat. That's the person that taught her. But yeah, I used to play this game all the time with friends that came over, even while in the Marine Corps, and with my daughter and the rest of my family.
That game's for everybody. Like that's just like a generational game. You know what I mean?
This and what is that other?
The Mario Party or something like that. Whatever.
No, it's the brawling game. You know what I'm talking about? Smash Brothers.
Oh, Smash Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm surprised your dad didn't look at the toy gun, but like fuck this gun, and then pull out his real gun and start shooting the TV.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the best multiplayer games ever. Just because there's a lot of family things and bias going around, but that's what these are about.
Yep.
Okay, my number 4.
God.
Is Quake 2.
Okay.
So Quake 2 was before Halo. This was like your Halo combat involved, but before that. And Quake 2 was just so much fun. I remember playing with a bunch of friends. This was another game I got my sister Jennifer and her boyfriend at the time addicted to. But we would do the same thing. We'd do these little LAN parties on PC and play this game all the time and all night. It was just a great game at the time. And again, it was before Halo, but it was kind of the same, I guess, idea. Setting up LAN, setting up a local area network, and just going at it all night long. All right, my number 3 will be Dota.
Okay.
You ever played Dota?
No.
The first one?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
All right.
not
So that's what
Dota
I'm
2.
talking about.
Okay.
Dota was the first, I would say, real big MOBA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so many characters. It was so much fun to play people against people online, create teams and stuff like that. But it was just a over the top tabletop MOBA game, and it's all it was. And but it was fun, playing with different heroes, playing with against people, and some people got really good at this. But this was one of the games that created a huge, esport around.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say one of the first ones, but it was one of the major first ones that created a huge esport gathering around before they made the second one. Okay, my number 2, Grant. World of Warcraft, specifically Vanilla WoW up to Wrath of the Lich King, and then later on Battle for Azeroth expansion.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip everything else because it deserves to be skipped.
I got you.
But up to the Burning Crusade and the Wrath of the Lich King even more, I played this game all the time, Grant. I mean, I got to the point I was in one of the best guilds on my server. Actually was the best guild. I was the main tank for this guild. We were the server first for a lot of things. And I even got my wife to play it and my young daughter when she was a baby, because she used to love playing my wife's character, who was a druid, and she turned into the little kitty cat form and run around and collect things for my wife, like to gather materials and stuff for her while she was like off doing stuff. But that's what she would do. And she loved that kitty cat all the time. And she played with it like all day. I was a bad father during that time. But so yeah. But then later on, they did Battle for Azeroth, which was a fantastic expansion. It was very good. One of the best expansions they've ever made. And I got back to it, became serious into it for just about a year or so. Again, became main tank of one of the better guilds on the server. But yeah, World of Warcraft, definitely my number 2. Just because all the time I put into it and all, I mean, I got like 27,000 achievement points on that game, like in-game achievement points. It's insane. I got like 370 something mounts.
God.
Yeah, it's insane. All right. But I am going to come back into probably when the War Within comes out. I am going to dabble back into World of Warcraft to see if that expansion is any good.
I won't see him no more. I won't see him.
All right. My number 1, Grant, it was on your list. What do you think it is?
It's on my list. On the let me see. Let me look at my list. Ultima Online.
No.
I knew it.
No. Halo Combat Evolved.
Yep.
So many good memories with this game.
It was a great game.
Yeah, playing with friends, doing the LAN parties, hearing people scream after you kill them multiple times when you camp them.
You're fuck.
Yeah. I'm like, damn it. You and that damn pistol. But yeah,
you were good with the pistol.
I was God mode with the pistol, dude.
You were like the only one that was good at the pistol.
Then they nerfed it in Halo 2. Anyway,
I was the needler.
Yeah, you would just spray everything. Find a target and just start spraying.
I would sit there and unload the whole clip. I'd run behind somebody and unload the whole clip.
I know. Even they pulled up with the Jeep. You know what I mean? They pull up with the vehicle and you just start spraying the needle.
I didn't care.
Our entire Jeep would just be full of needles.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, no, Halo. I mean, so many good memories around it. Played it for so long. Got really good at it. Loved playing with friends. But yeah, that's my number 1.
Yeah.
And that's it, buddy.
All right, guys.
We're at the hour 18 mark. Let's close this podcast.
We got to close it out, guys. Y'all go like our YouTube. We are almost at 600 followers. We're growing fast, guys. We appreciate it, and everybody's.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate y'all. Our podcast is growing really well. We're getting a lot of viewers and listeners, and or whatever you want to call it. Getting the viewers now from this, the video version. But yeah, everywhere you got podcasts, go look us up, like us, leave a 5-star review. If you have any top 10 ideas, leave us a message on the videos.
Give us some top 10 lists to do.
Yeah, we'll do one for you. We don't care. Ask us whatever you want. Anyway, guys, we'll see y'all next time.